Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. Let's talk about the last 3 days. Actually, we're going to start with Sunday night leading into Monday morning. I just come off of my first week of off-season training, and I had a good training session both days on the weekend, but I couldn't get to sleep for the life of me. And I went to bed at the normal time about 9 o'clock, and then about somewhere between 1 and 2, I was starting to get hungry. I was still up. And so I figured if I'm going to feel hungry, it's going to be even worse for me to try and get to sleep. So I went and had a can of sardines, went back to bed. About 3 o'clock, finally fell asleep. Unfortunately, I had to get up at 6:30 to go to work. Fortunately, I was working at home that day and not at the office. If I had to work at the office, I would have to get up an hour earlier at 5:30, and that just wouldn't work for me, and then I'd have to take that whole day off. So now I'm at work. Fortunately, it's a desk job, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm doing my stuff, and I'm doing okay. And the closer it gets to 11 o'clock, the worse I start to feel. It starts to catch up. So then I take a half day just so I can go sleep and just lay there and relax and basically do nothing. And then I was fine after a while, and I was able to do one more hour of work before the end of the workday. There's some new viewers out there that may be saying, drink some coffee and just muscle through it. Well, when you're subject to AFib like I am, that's not something you can do. Because if you're forcing your body to do something that it's not doesn't want to do, then you're going to have potential problems. And if you're subject to AFib like I am, then that can lead back into AFib. So what the body will do to compensate that, when you're trying to force your body to do something in this situation, you're going to be secreting adrenaline, and that adrenaline is going to increase your heart rates, and that's where the problems can start. And I need another AFib incident like I need a hole in the head. So I don't do that. Everything I do is to try and take pressure off my heart. And so if I run into a situation like this where I just can't go to sleep, then I have to really dial back the next day and maybe the next 2 days, depending on what's happening, so my body can get back to normal. Tuesday, everything's fine, and I'm feeling good Tuesday because of what I did to put that extra sleep during the middle of the day on Monday. So Tuesday was muscle tension interval day. After my muscle tension intervals were done and I went home, my workout wasn't yet done. It was then time for squat and deadlifts. The best time to do those is after your intervals on interval days. That way your legs are warmed up. It's going to be 2 days or 3 days before you do another set of intervals, and by then your legs should be recovered enough. And when you're old like me, they won't be totally recovered. They'll be recovered enough, hopefully. I ended up doing 4x5 MT intervals, muscle tension intervals. And this time I wanted to apply extra power. When I did it the first time, this time around, this off season, I just focused on form because you have to spin a certain way. You have to apply pressure at each point in the spin. And so this time I still did that. I concentrated on the form, which was real important, and also concentrated on using more power. For each of those, the average range between about 273 to 300 watts, which for 5 minutes, not a lot, but when you're doing low cadence and you have to concentrate on just keeping that pressure at each point, because if you don't, you let up and then your average goes down. So it takes a while to get used to, but considering this was the second time doing the 275 to 300 for those 5 minutes, that was good for me. And now it's day 3 today. Today is endurance, but it's not just an easy endurance ride. It's an endurance interval. Always have to keep the pressure on the pedals. Do a good spin, and just be consistent. Pick a route if you can that you're not going to stop at. I am going to be doing about 90 minutes. I do more, but there's not going to be enough daylight. And I got to get ready for work tomorrow because tomorrow I'm actually working in the office, so I got to get to bed earlier, yada, yada, yada. I can easily do 200 watts. I've been doing that as an average, so I'm looking to do 210 to 215. Now that's what I want to do. I lifted last night, so we'll see if my legs will be able to comply with that. I'm feeling it in my legs, especially in the glutes and the hamstrings because of the deadlifts, because of how I'm doing the deadlifts. But we'll see what I could do. If nothing else, the key is pressure on the pedals the whole way through for the entire 90 minutes. Well, that surprisingly went well. And I say surprising because when I was doing the warm-up, I could feel my hamstrings and glutes from the deadlifts I was doing yesterday. And it was feeling so nice just to go easy endurance during the warm-up. But I thought I'd give it the old college try. So I was aiming for 210 minimum, 210 to 215. But once I got going, I was feeling good. And I didn't open it up, but I kept it in endurance. But I wanted to see if I can get to 220, and I think I got to 220. So it went for about 85 minutes. Limitation is the course. I completed the loop. So I'm good. So I take tomorrow off. Friday, I'm going to maybe do a Zwift crit. I haven't done one in a couple weeks. For you young guys out there, you could probably just jump in after a couple weeks of no upper intensity and get right into it. But I'm 66. It doesn't work that way for me. So there's going to be some building up. So I may do the crit on Friday. Saturday, I'll be at a rest stop. Working for Off the Front. It's going to be the last California Classic Century. So if you guys are in the area, that's the one you want to sign up for. It's the last one. And it's a pretty cool course. Okay. You know the drill. Comment, like, subscribe. And I want you to comment, like this, because it helps, and subscribe to Cycling Greek.